So I was hired by Sycamore in 1996. I do enjoy Station 1. It was the first firehouse that we had for the first 12 years of my career, and it was the first firehouse I'd ever even been in. It has historical character. It's right downtown where we can see a lot of foot traffic and road traffic. I have 27 years of fond memories that have grown here at Station 1. I've watched coworkers' kids be born, grow up, and some even become firemen here. Sycamore itself has transformed right in front of my eyes while I've been serving. With that being said, a lot has changed in those 27 years where we are starting to notice rapid, drastic hindrance of this station, which is starting to affect our responses to the citizens, and this is where things really start to become problematic.
The current fire station here was built in 1957. In its time, it served as the police department, fire department, as well as the administrative side of the city. At the time, the city's population was only about 6,700 people. The fire department was made up of 27 volunteer firefighters. At that time, we only ran 89 calls. We didn't start providing ambulances or EMS services until the late 70s. We have a total of 18,500 residents now. They make requests of over 3,000 calls. To say this building has gone through a transformation is an understatement. 911 calls were dispatched from here. Police were responded from here. We shared a common hallway with them. The fire department lived here as well as responded to calls. Council meetings were held here. So this building has seen quite a lot of activity and growth in its time.
So there's been little to no building efficiency updates since its completion in 1957. The entire building is lined with single-pane windows that allow the sun to heat up the building in the summer, and it lets all the cold air in the winter. Our boiler system has a difficult time keeping up, and it often leaves us with 45 to 55 degree living quarters. We supplement with space heaters, which, being in the fire service, we're aware is not the safest option, but there really is no alternative.
All of the pipework throughout the station is wrapped in asbestos. There's a drainage problem so that when the firefighters either come in the winter and the ice thaws, the floors tend to be all wet. The floors in the apparatus bay slope away from the drains, so we have standing water on a regular basis.
One of the problems we faced here at Station 1 recently was an electrical failure in our building, which caused our doors not to operate with the openers. So every time we had an emergency call to respond to, we had to manually lift these big doors and close them after we pulled the vehicles out. So when we have to lift the door manually, it adds a 2 or 3 minute delay to our response time. And this was a problem that we had to deal with for approximately 2 months. And the reason was we have such an old electrical system in this building that needed to be updated. We had some major failures in that.
When we have to turn the boiler on in the winter, it's not regulated by a thermostat, so we have to come down. They're all segmented, so depending on what part of the building needs heat, we need to flip it on or turn it off. If it's too hot, we got to come down here and turn it off. If it's not hot enough and it starts to cool off too much and there's frost on the windows, we need to come down here and flip up the correlating switch. About 2 weeks before the summer this year, our AC unit failed. So we had to supplement with multiple portable AC units and fans due to the cost and the wait time for the new unit. So they're spread out throughout our bunk room, throughout the main living quarters, in order for it to be a tenable space for us when it's hot.
Yeah, so one of the first things I wanted to do when I came in to be the city manager is look at all the different assets of the city. We wanted to look at the buildings. We wanted to look at the vehicles. We wanted to make sure the space of those different assets were the correct size, the correct locations. And so we wanted to do a total look at everything that was going on in the city of Sycamore. And one of the things that stood out was this fire station, number one. And it was interesting when we looked at it, there was some assessments that were done in the past. And in those assessments, it said the deferred maintenance for this building had been put off for several years. We had another assessment come in and still looking at those deferred maintenance items and also looking at the space needs. And what they found is that the size of the bays were not big enough. The vehicles that we were purchasing to fit in there we had to pay extra money in order to right-size them to fit inside the bays, which was costing the city $100,000, $200,000 to modify those vehicles to make them fit. So we wanted to make sure that that wasn't occurring anymore. We couldn't share vehicles from station number 2 with station number 1. So we wanted to make sure, was it in the right location? The calls for service. So all of this was evaluated and looked at. And in order to make a good decision, we had to have all that information in front of us. Those things came back, and we found out that it wasn't in the right location, that it wasn't the right size. And so the question is now, how do we update, how do we afford something like that? So we looked at all the different costs associated with it, and I think we found a solution where we can pay for this fire station without raising those property taxes.
Part of the issues that we have with our ability to respond to emergencies is our lack of a ladder truck. Currently, at this time, if we have a large fire, we rely entirely on another town, whether it's DeKalb or Hampshire, to respond with their truck. And that could be up to 20 minutes away, depending on those departments' staffing. We don't have room for a vital piece of equipment that would be more available to us once we build a new station.
So one of the problems we have with Station 1 in Sycamore is that our apron is awful short. So when we pull one of these rigs out, we have a short approach with a sidewalk cutting right through the middle. As we try to wash our vehicles after a call, we are completely blocking the sidewalk. People trying to pass, to go back and forth, especially children trying to go to school. We block their way, which oftentimes leads them into the street as they try to get around us.
I'll be honest, we're all pretty easygoing when it comes to the firehouse. Overall, we're adaptable people who've gone into plenty of different living and working environments. We understand the difference between wants and needs. The challenge we are seeing is this domino effect of problems that are accumulating, and now it's becoming a hindrance as we're trying to respond to our community's emergencies in a timely manner.
The safety of our citizens has always been the number one priority of Sycamore Fire Department. This building has been through so many transformations, it just can't meet the needs of this community any longer. It hampers our ability to provide the highest quality of response capability. This new station will allow us to improve our responses, better improve our equipment, and just be more of an asset to the community overall.
And location is important because we make sure that the response times are correct. We wanted to make sure that the size of the property was going to be correct sized as well. So we found a location, it was owned by Ideal Industries, and we knew that they were a partner with the community, and they were so open and willing to help out the community, and they wanted to donate this land, 6 acres out of $1 million that they wanted to donate. And they're really excited about partnering with the city of Sycamore.